Welcome back. We're going to start off with motions. So what motions are, it's how we navigate across the document using the keyboard instead of the mouse. So we'll open up the 010 motions file, and this will be our lesson. So the way that the course is kind of set up is there's going to be different lessons, and you'll have to practice each one until you become kind of familiar with it, and then move on to the next lesson. For this particular section, the phase 1, what I recommend doing is practicing all of the lessons in this section just on their own before you start hopping into your own files. Once you feel comfortable with all of the lessons in this section, then start applying just this section to your own files when you're working on something. And then once you get completely comfortable with what you've learned so far, then move on to the phase 2 section. So this is, you can't just go through the entire course and then, cool, you know how to use Vim. It's not going to work that way because it's all based on muscle memory. So let's start with the first one. Now, the first one, we have the cursor movement. So we use H, J, A, and L to move up, down, left, and right. And here's a little diagram with arrows showing how it works. And I also have at the top right the keys that I'll be pressing. So I'm going to limit myself just to using the ones that are shown in the lesson. Now, since Vim is based so much on muscle memory, what you want to do is practice these until you don't really have to think about it too much. When you first start, you are going to be thinking a little bit about it, but just go about 5 or 10 minutes just going up, down, left, and right until you just can move your hand to the keyboard and say, hey, I want to go right, and you just go right. Like, for example, when I want to go down, I don't think, hey, I need to hit the J key. I'm not thinking that. I think, oh, I need to go down. And then my fingers just go to where it's supposed to be because using Vim is muscle memory now. And that's what makes Vim so great, is because you don't even think about what you're doing. You just think, oh, I want to go to the left. Boom, you just go to the left. And so what this kind of means, since it's muscle memory, is the faster you type, the faster you can move around your document and the more value you get out of Vim. So here on number 1, we're going to practice moving up, down, left, and right. So we should move left a bunch of times, right a bunch of times. You can tap it once, you can hold it and see what happens. You can do K to go up and J to go down. And so what you'll do is you're just going to kind of spend a couple minutes just doing this, going up, down, left, right, until you get used to it. Because everything that we do in Vim is going to basically boil down to these 4 keystrokes, because we're going to be making modifications to these keystrokes. And there'll be other ones too, as we'll see in just another moment. But these are going to be the core ones. So once you get to number 1 and number 2, just tells you to practice it. So you really need to practice it. So you can pause the video or go through the whole thing and then come back just to this lesson on your own and just spend about, at least 5 or 10 minutes just using H, J, K, and L. That way you can become familiar with moving up and down. So once you're done with that, we're going to go down to number 3. Number 2 is just practice. So number 3, we can move by single characters using H, J, K, and L, but we can also move across entire words. So if we hit E, we're going to go to the end of the current word. So if I move to the word character right here and hit E, it's going to move to the last R in this word. So I'm going to hit E, and now it's at the end of the word. And if I want to go back, I can hit B for back. So B is back, E is end. And if I want to move to the next word, I can hit W. So W moves to the next word. And with punctuation, it kind of jumps to the punctuation, so it jumped to the comma. But if I want to jump to the word the, I can go the. Cursor can be moved, and so every time I hit W, it's moving an entire word. And if I want to go back a word, I just hit B, back, W, 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 W. So forward a word, backward a word. Now this is going to feel really weird at first because you have your right hand going up, down, left, and right, and then you have your left hand going backwards and forwards. And so this entire first video is just going to be lots of practice, and everything's going to feel really strange, and it's normal if it feels frustrating and weird, because it's like learning to type, except it's a whole different environment and different way of doing things. And so now we're going to scroll down a little bit, and we have an instruction here. It says using E, W, and B, move between the words in the paragraph to see how the cursor moves with various kinds of punctuation. This is extra important as programmers because we run into a lot of different punctuation marks. So all you're going to do here is just use W a bunch of times, B a bunch of times, E a bunch of times, And you're just going to combine that with moving up and down, left and right with HJKL. And so you kind of get a feel of how things move. And so, for example, if you want to go up to the word command right above my cursor, you don't need to hold B a bunch of times to go all the way back a bunch of words. Instead, what we can do is we can just go up, and there we are. Or if we're over here at the very end, or the very beginning, now we want to go to the word command, we just go up and then over a couple words. Or instead, we can go over a couple words and then up. It really doesn't matter how you arrive there. What's important is that you're performing the keystrokes in order to kind of get your muscles to memorize where it goes, because it's all about muscle memory. So the more you're doing it, then the easier it's going to become. And so now that once you get a little bit of practice with that, we're going to go down to number 4. And so here's where things start to get interesting. We can actually combine a number with the motions that we've been doing to repeat it multiple times. So it says right here, we're going to position the cursor at 0. So we'll go down here to 0, press 3J to move the cursor down 3 lines. We're going to jump down 3 lines. So we're going to go 3J. We've already been doing a lot of weird new things with the moving with the right hand and then going entire words with the left hand. And now we're tossing in repeats in the mix. So with repeats, they're really important, and it's also why we turned on relative line numbers. So if you look over here on the left, we're on line 38. And if we look down, we have 1, 2, and 3. So these are the number of lines relative to our current position. So we have lines going up and we have lines going down. So if we want to go down 3 lines from where we're at, like we want to get, or let's just say we want to go to 4 down here. So we're right here. We want to end up here at 4. So we look over here and we have to move down 4 lines because we have relative line numbers and it's 4 lines relative to our position. So if we do 4J, now we're here at the spot that we want to be. And so with repeats, it's not just with lines, it's with every motion that you can possibly do, you can use a repeat. So if I want to jump back up to section 4, I can look at the left and I can see that, hey, we have 8 lines above, that's from the current position, so I can hit 8J, or 8K, and then move right up here back to the beginning. And if I want to move down to the word 5 at the very bottom, that's 9 lines from this position, so I can do 9J, and now I'm down there. And it works with words too, so if I want to go 4 words over, I can do 4W, and now I'm there. And I can do 20W, and I can end up 20 words from my current position. And it works with back too, so if I want to go back 4 words, I can do 4B to go back 4 words. And so this is just something that it takes a lot of getting used to. And what I would recommend is you just stick with using a single time for now, and then once you get a little bit more comfortable, you can start tossing the repeats into the mix. And so once we finish that, we're going to scroll down a little bit more, see what else we have. And it has a little bit of a lesson here. It just tells you, well, some instruction that you can do. So you can practice that on your own after the video. So like I mentioned earlier, what we want to do with this entire first section is just practice on these lesson files for maybe 5 or 10 minutes each, just on those files. And then once you practice with all the files in this first section, then you can start using just what you've learned in this section on your own files. So let's say you're working on some CSS for a web page. What you can do is work on the CSS using Vim mode, using what you've learned in section 1, but don't move on to section 2 until you've become more comfortable with section 1, because once we get to section 2, it's going to be building off everything that we've learned here in the core section. So this is the most important section because we have the basic core things you need to know. And another thing with learning Vim is you don't want to try to learn Vim alongside learning a programming language. So if you're just getting started and let's say you're learning JavaScript, don't try using Vim with JavaScript learning. Only use it on things that you're already familiar with. That way you're not like doubling up your learning. Because if you try to learn Vim, that's a whole thing on its own. And then you're trying to learn programming, that's a whole thing on its own. And it's just going to make everything kind of messy. So just use it on something you're already kind of familiar with. That way you're able to optimize your learning experience. That'll do it for this video.